It was the beginning of a new story. A dangerous path. A hopeful path. A journey that would test his courage and his very soul. After Gabriel met the Liberian man on that dusty Lagos roadside, their conversation grew deeper. Two complete strangers, each carrying a different kind of pain, suddenly found themselves united by the shared language of struggle. The noise of the bustling city seemed to fade into the background as they sat together. A small island of stillness in a sea of chaos. The man began to speak, his voice soft, almost a whisper. It wasn't like someone just telling a story. It was like he was releasing years of pent-up pain, letting it seep out into the open air. "We were facing a civil war," he started, his eyes distant, fixed on a memory only he could see. "The first one started back in 1989. My family, ... My whole family, they burned them alive." Tears started to well up in his eyes, but he fought to remain strong, his jaw tight. "I'm the youngest," he continued, his voice cracking slightly. "They wanted to force me to join the fighters, to become a soldier. But the Nigerian ECOWAS soldiers, they rescued us. They brought us here, to a refugee camp in your country." Gabriel felt his own heart tighten in his chest. The weight of the man's words was suffocating. He had to ask, even though he dreaded the answer. "So your parents, your brothers, your sisters..." The man's shoulders slumped, and he lowered his head, staring at the ground between his feet. "They're all gone." The silence that followed was heavy, deep, and incredibly painful. In that moment, Gabriel didn't see a stranger anymore. He saw a brother. He saw someone who understood loss, someone who knew what it was like to have the world crumble beneath your feet. Without a second thought, he reached out and pulled the man into a hug. They held each other tight, two sons of Africa, searching for a glimmer of hope in a world that had seemingly given them nothing. "From today," Gabriel said, his voice thick with emotion, "you're my brother, a brother from another mother." A small, genuine smile broke through the man's tears. It was the first time Gabriel had seen any light in his eyes. Months passed. They became inseparable, a team. They lived together in a cramped, shared space, struggling together, taking on any small, odd job they could find just to earn enough to eat and survive another day. It was a grind, a constant battle against hunger and despair. But they had each other. Then one morning, everything changed. The Liberian man, whose name was Samuel, burst into their room, his face alight with an excitement Gabriel hadn't seen before. Gabriel, my friends. They say I should come to the seaport in Lagos. They have work for me there. Let's go." Gabriel looked at him, a mix of hope and uncertainty swirling inside him. The seaport. It sounded promising, a real opportunity, but a wave of reality washed over him. They had no money, not for food, not for a place to stay, and certainly not for transport to the port. They had no plan, no connections. All they had was a desperate hunger for a better life and a shared dream of escaping their circumstances. They spent the entire day searching, begging anyone who would listen for transport money. They explained their situation, their hopes, but door after door was shut in their faces. As dusk began to settle over Lagos, they had managed to scrape together just enough for a small, rickety boat ride. It wasn't going directly to the seaport, but to a tiny remote fishing village called "That's where the boat will drop us," Samuel explained, trying to keep the optimism alive. "We can wait there. My friend said he will come back from the port and meet us in the village." It was a long shot, a plan built on a thread of hope, but it was the only plan they had. Gabriel looked at his friend, his brother, and nodded. He agreed. And so, the two young men, one Nigerian, one Liberian, stepped into the boat. They carried no luggage, no possessions of value. They carried only their shared pain and their fragile dreams. As the boat pushed away from the shore, leaving the chaos of Lagos behind them, they sailed into the unknown. The water was dark, mirroring the uncertainty of their future. They were heading towards a place neither of them had ever been, to meet a person they were only connected to by a sliver of a promise. The journey ahead was long. It would be full of risks they couldn't yet imagine, dangers lurking in the shadows, and, as they would soon discover, miracles they never expected. This was only the beginning of their shared odyssey. The next chapter would take place in Segukaji village, a place that would present Gabriel with his first great test, a trial by fire that would force him to take the next critical step toward his destiny. Thank you for watching this part of Gabriel's incredible true story. The journey is far from over. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 3, where the real challenges begin. See you in the next one.